What's up Sega fans, it's Dan the Mega Driver here of the Sega Guys with some exciting Final Fight news. Long-time viewers will recall that James The Segaholic has been on top of Mauro Xavier's outstanding Final Fight MD project, an ambitious homebrew port of Capcom's classic Final Fight arcade game to Sega's 16-bit Mega Drive or Genesis for those on the North American continent. If you haven't seen the game so far, my recommendation is to check out the Segaholic's exceptional videos on the channel via the links below or just by browsing the channel itself. But for those looking for a recap, the short version is this. Mauro is porting Final Fight to Sega's stock 16-bit hardware, making it an entirely different proposition to the official Mega CD port that came in 1993. The game will feature the full arcade experience, featuring a 2-player mode, all 3-player characters, just like the arcade original and unlike other ports of the game. Plus it will feature a survival mode where you must fight off waves and waves of enemies, and a time attack mode where you need to survive for a set time limit. Additional characters are planned, such as Maki and Captain Commando, which may end up making this port the most feature-rich version and technically impressive port on home hardware to date. In recent months it has been fairly quiet as far as updates are concerned, but then in the past week Mauro seemingly sprung to life with some insight on why. "I'm tired of apologising," Mauro wrote on Twitter on the 21st of June, stating that he has been delayed due to would-be publishers breaking promises and not answering questions. Mauro and the community have said many times that an official physical release of this fantastic port would be a dream come true. And that sounds like what was being discussed, but it now seems that Mauro has hit something of a brick wall in those negotiations. "I will develop Final Fight MD my way," Mauro said defiantly in his post, and, true to his word, the next update came out just 2 days later. Version 2024.06.23 didn't add much by the way of content, but featured numerous updates and fixes. The biggest change comes from the implementation of the new XGM2 sound driver, which was released as part of SGDK 2.0 back in January 2024. While not overtly stated in his update, it does appear that moving to this new sound driver has allowed Mauro more headroom with regards to the game logic. The speed of the game in this build has been increased significantly, and the file size has also been reduced. While the PCM channels have been reduced from 4 to 3, there is actually no noticeable drop in sound quality. The music still sounds great, the iconic themes are present and correct, albeit with instrumentation that is distinctly Mega Drive in its sound. Speech is really clear as well, demonstrating what this hardware can do in the right hands. We certainly do not have a repeat of Street Fighter 2 Special Champion Edition right here. There are also numerous other updates and fixes that improve things from animation frames to hitboxes and combos, but it really is the speed of the game where the improvement is felt most. As a reminder, Final Fight MD features 2 modes of play, a 60 frames per second mode where you can have up to 4 characters on screen, or a 30 frames per second mode which ups that number to 6. I played through this build twice, once with Hagar and once with Guy. As well as the additional modes, I was impressed by how little slowdown there was in this build, particularly in the 60 frames per second mode. At 30, I did see a few more cases of screen flicker and slowdown, especially in things like survival mode. But that is to be expected to a degree, because this game still is very much a work in progress. With half the game built and a great many optimizations yet to come, it's extremely exciting seeing these new updates, not because of any sort of new content, but because it plays so well. It played great before, but the optimizations and the tweaks are really paying off. And this ties into what Mauro explained in his update, that Patreon subscribers are effectively beta testers now, playing the builds and feeding back on what he has dubbed an experimental update. This update did present one odd feature, and that was the missing door at the end of stage 3. But as quick as a spinning lariat from Mike Hagar, Mauro delivered yet another update, version 2024.06.23 Plus. This update fixed the barrels in stage 1, as well as various other animation frames, and of course that missing door that I spotted in stage 3. The latest updates demonstrate why this is such an interesting and exciting project, and as backers on Patreon, the Sega guys will continue to bring you updates as this port progresses. And if you want to try it for yourself, absolutely please give Mauro's Patreon a visit, where you can see and play the various updates as and when they happen, and also get an insight into his other work, like this really impressive scaling hang-on demo for the Mega Drive, which we should just watch right now just for a moment because it looks absolutely sensational. Just one final note on this version of Final Fight MD. Initially, this build would not play on my Mega Drive via my Mega EverDrive X5 flashcard. For some reason, it would always fail the security check, so the first update footage is taken almost entirely from an emulator. Moving the game files to the root of the SD card and away from the other various ROMs and homebrews that I do have on my EverDrive did seem to fix things for the most part, but I would still see the error on occasion. It's not a major issue, but something to be aware of for those playing on real hardware. Thankfully, in the later update, I never experienced this issue at all, though whether that is because it was stored in the root of my card from the beginning is unknown. So just something to be conscious of for those looking to try this update. But hey, that's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you want to hear these future updates first on Final Fight MD, don't forget to hit the bell for notifications, which you'll get as well as our fortnightly Sega Guys podcast, regular videos which cover a range of topics such as retrospectives, reviews and opinion pieces, all centred around the world of Sega. And until next time, we will see you on the Sega side.